Hi, writers. Today is the beginning of a new unit, an information writing unit. And to begin the unit, you will be writing a book all about a topic that you know a lot about. So if you haven't had a chance to start a list of possible topics for your first information book, go ahead and do that right now. You might want to use some questions like the ones I provided here. You might want to flip through your notebook or your Google Keeps or wherever you're keeping your ideas and think about things that you write about or talk about or think about often. Whatever works for you. You want to start to jot down a list of possible topics that you could talk about for a long time, teach others about. Here's a list of my topics I came up with. I just kind of put down the first things that came to mind. And now that I have a list all ready to go, I want to look it over and start thinking about things that might make for a really strong information writing book. I'm going to ask myself, which of these topics do I have firsthand personal knowledge about? Things that might surprise other people, things that might be maybe unexpected, super interesting, that they don't know yet that I could teach them. So, right now, take a moment to either make a list or finish up your list, and then think about what from that list could you write about with your own personal knowledge, your own personal experiences. Okay, once you've got that, you're ready for our lesson. So, today, I want to teach you that because readers want that juicy insider information, writers often choose topics about which they have special, lived insider information, lived knowledge that's unique, that's personal, that's insightful, that might be offered through tips or stories. And they do this to make a really powerful and memorable information book. Right now, I'm thinking about one of my favorite information writers who you actually have already met. It's Anita Sanchez. She wrote the book Rotten. I love this book. And she has other books too that are so good. So she has a lot of insider information about various topics. But one thing that I love about her is that she makes it feel really special. So, for instance, we're reading about rot, right? And we're reading about decomposition and the process. Instead of just having sections to be about, like, for instance, what is rot or what makes rot so bad or gross, which it isn't, we've learned. She does things like, why do some things smell bad to us? Making it feel like as if she's about to tell me something totally shocking, new, crazy that I had never thought of or heard of before. She does it a lot. We learned about dung beetles the other day, and look at this section. Why do dung beetles love dung? I love how she just kind of uses her own voice and also presents information through questions and through stories. That's what makes it so fun to read. So, if you are not clear on what insider information is yet, I want to make sure that you are before we go any further. Insider information is the stuff that only you can really offer. It's when you ask yourself, what cool stuff do I know a lot about? And then you share that in a way that's also special to who you are. Like Anita Sanchez asking us questions to get us started thinking about some really big, important facts and ideas in her texts. So now that you have a topic in mind, something that you feel you could write about, it's time to start thinking about, well, what exactly could that be? What are some surprising, unexpected, shocking things that you could teach us about your topic? I'm going to show you how I do this on my own using one of my topics and also some questions that I like to use whenever I am planning or getting started on a new information book. So I'm looking at the list, and one thing that I thought would be kind of interesting would be to write about cereal, because I feel like it's unexpected. And I feel like I could tell you some things about it that maybe you haven't heard before or have even thought about. So I'm going to go with cereal. Now, I have some questions, and you can use these same questions as well. But they're really just to get me to start pouring out information, details, things that I could be using to write my book. So I'm just going to show you how I do this by asking myself some of these questions. Okay. How about the one that says, what are some surprising interesting things you know about the topic? Let me think. Okay, that's what I was saying before. I should teach it because I know some surprising, shocking things. So what are they? If you don't have a post it out, or if you don't have Google Keeps open, this is the chance to do it. You want to make sure that you have something to write on or with to start to just let the information pour out of you. If you have Post-its, it might be more fun and easier to do it on Post-its. That way you can just kind of start stacking them and moving the things around. So even though we've been doing a lot of things digital right now, if you have Post-its nearby, if you have a pen or a pencil, if you have a piece of paper, pick that up and just start writing. I'm just going to start writing and answering some of these questions. Okay. So, surprising, interesting things that I know about cereal. Well, I know that you can eat really, really old cereal and be totally fine. In fact, the expiration date doesn't really matter. It just basically tells you when it's going to start to kind of be gross tasting or feeling in your mouth, like stale and kind of chewy and not nice and crunchy and fresh. But it doesn't really matter. You can just eat it anyway. So one thing that I could write down, expiration dates is true. Put that on my sheet. Okay, what else? Maybe I could just keep going with this surprising fact question. I think I have more. Another thing I could teach about it is that you can actually use the old cereal. You can use it for other recipes. For instance, you could use it to make pie crusts, or use it as ice cream toppings. Crumple up some kind of stale frosted flakes on top of some vanilla ice cream is delicious. That's gonna be delicious. You can use it for other snacks. So old cereal, you can use that for other recipes. What else? Other surprising facts. This is kind of crazy. Did you know that there is a ton of sugar in some cereals? In fact, in Fruit Loops, which I always thought of as a kid were kind of like the healthier one, maybe because I didn't like them as much. In Fruit Loops, there is a lot of sugar. In fact, there are 10 grams per cup. That's more than two spoonfuls in every cup. That's like eating totally pure, not pure sugar, but you know what I mean, refined sugar, right? To just a handful of it, one after another. Not even in a full serving. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so one thing I could write down for sugar. Do you notice how I'm just writing down quick jots? I'm not writing anything fancy. I'm just trying to get the stuff down. And I know what it means, so it's helpful for me. These are just your notes, right? Okay, what else? Maybe I'll try to make this one personal, things that have, come out of my own life experiences. Well, one thing I've learned about cereal that I think is really cool, and something that maybe to try even another one, maybe a misunderstanding that people have, or something that I've learned after a while, is that there are tons of gluten-free options for cereal. Tons of them. And I know this because I became celiac later in life, when I was in my 20s. I probably always was, but I became a celiac, which means I can't have gluten. I'm allergic to it. And I love cereal, and I love things made from grains and wheat, but I couldn't eat it. And I was really sad that I had to give up my Cheerios, because those are my all-time favorites. But then I realized that I don't have to. Most Cheerios are actually gluten-free. In fact, there's almost a gluten-free option now for most major brand cereals. So another surprising fact maybe for you, but also things that I've learned, things that are memorable that other people should know too. Because if you're also gluten-free, there's hope for you. So I hope that you just notice that another way to get myself to not only get ideas for writing, but to really have like concrete information that I'm like ready to go off running with, is to ask myself questions and just jot down the first thing that comes to mind. And not to worry so much about what my jobs look like. Just writing down a few words and piling them up about things I could teach other people is a great start. So right now, I want you to do the same thing. You can use these same exact questions that I have been using, because you have a copy of them on Google Classroom, and you can use Post-its or you can use Google Keeps, whatever you'd like, as long as you're sharing it with me after. So just make a list of, use your list, pick your topic, and start to answer some of these questions to get down your information for your first information book. I'm so excited to see the stuff that you are all experts on. Have fun with it, enjoy it, and really push yourself. See how much stuff you can get on a page or on Post-its right now.